more assertive offensively, and I hope that tonight when she has her opportunities, she'll take those opportunities to be a scorer.
You know, on younger siblings, I think it drives them crazy to be compared to their older sibling. Everybody can ask the other Mr. Rarick how much he enjoyed being compared to me. It was an impossible comparison for him. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
I was going to say, Tyler, her older sister, Matta, currently playing at Dixie State. She had some similar things when her junior and senior year, we kind of had to ask her to be more offensive, and she's like, well, I have all these great teammates, and we're like, just listen, you're better, and we need you to do this for your teammates. And then she figured it out, and she's having a great basketball
Dixie
career
coming
right
out
now.
in a little 2-3 zone to start tonight.
And Snow Canyon is in their zone offense, moving the ball in the perimeter. They're looking to try to enter it to the high post or the short corner, or hit some of these skip passes to get open shots. Kenneth Staley starts with the 3. Bounces off the rim a couple of times and misses, and Dixie's going to get the rebound.
And those are the open looks that the Warriors are going to need to knock down tonight. That was a good-looking shot, good ball movement to get an open look for Staley right off the bat.
That was good. We talked about this against Desert Hills. They, instead of coming down and settling for the first outside shot, they move that ball to, we call it like, I think boys basketball talks about this too, but the third or fourth side of the floor. And, for people listening who don't know what that means, obviously you divide the floor in half horizontally, and whatever side you start on is the first side. Then when you reverse it, that's the second. If you can get to the third, fourth, fifth, or sixth side of the floor, you're going to get wide open shots every time.
Yeah, and the reason that happens is because defensively, no matter what the other team is running, it's hard to defend that kind of ball movement. So when you get that kind of movement, you're hoping to open up some of those shots and lanes for your teammates.
Great offense typically beats great defense. Speaking of that, we look like we can see a style choice here from the Flyers. The ball's moving around. Natalie Olson with a 3, and she misses, bounces off a couple of Warriors and ends up in the hands of the Flyers. We mentioned this before the game, but there's a clear style choice here by the Flyers. They are attacking the basket, and they're trying to force the referees to make some calls under the basket. There's some contact down there, but it seems like the Flyers are the ones initiating most of the contact. So far the officials have not rewarded that. However, that's a style of play that typically does get rewarded as the game goes on, and I thought that I was just going to be proven prophetic, but instead it was a traveling violation on the Flyers.
Little chin action there, try to get some movement with those guards to spring them into that lane like you were talking about.
Here comes Taylon Whitehead across half court, initiating the Warrior offense. She swings over to the perimeter, down to the short corner. Cundy dumps it to Olson. Olson back out to Whitehead. Another three-point attempt for the Warriors, and this time they get their offensive rebound. Olson gets the rebound and dribbles it out. That's something that I'm sure Coach Roden will talk about. It's an open shot, but it's she dribbled out to about 6 inches in front of the three-point line, and about 6 inches further back is worth an extra point. We might as well
extra step.
Take that or go to the basket and try to get a foul. This is something interesting. We got a little half-court trap, it looks like, and it pays off. Tyler Mooring makes a great read and gets the steal. Enters the ball to the elbow to Natalie Olson. Olson attacking against the zone. Good crossover dribble. Shots up and off. The Warriors getting some looks, not getting anything to fall right now. Good block by Taylon Whitehead, and she's putting a headlock on the loose ball.
Taylon and Katie Mills right there, familiar foes. Those two actually played with my daughter Olivia on soccer team growing up together, so good friends right there, getting a little heated.
Is that something that happened to the two of them on the soccer field as well?
Katie was a goalie.
Oh, okay.
And she was a phenomenal goalie. In fact, I hear that she signed recently to go play at Snow College
nice.
As a goalkeeper. So she's a great athlete. And those kids, it was a lot of fun watching them play when they were younger.
Congratulations to her. Warrior offense right here. Ball is moved over to the wing. Cundy cuts across the baseline to enter to her in the short corner. And she sees Lealau cutting down and tries to throw it to her. She ends up being fouled, and on an inbounds play, Taylon caught the ball after it was deflected, so the ball's going to be out on her. One thing, though, and this is something we talked about with all of the players, is bounce passes versus these overhand almost chest passes or overhead passes. If the Warriors can master the art of the bounce pass, we might get some layups out of this. Whitehead dribble handoff to Lealau. She loses it, gets it back, goes back to Taylon. Taylon dribbles to the top of the key, crossover back to Lealau. Lealau puts up a 3 and hits it. So those are the first points of the game, 3 minutes in. The Warriors lead 3-0, and so far they've run this half-court trap twice, 3 times, and they've created turnovers every time. Cundy just passed it off of Staley's head. It goes to Whitehead. Whitehead misses the shot, kicks it out to Staley. Staley with the three and drills it again. Back-to-back threes for the Warriors, and we're back in this three. I'm assuming this is a 2-1-2 kind of.
2-1-2 press, yeah.
And I think some of these principles, they're trying to deny straight line passes and force long skips.
There's a good bounce pass.
That's eventually, when you run this enough, the other team figures it out, but that's still a good payoff for the Warriors, a 6-2 trade off of that trap. So that's something new from Coach Roden.
Yeah, and if my count is right, I think the Warriors have had 7 shots so far, and only a couple turn, and 5 of those 7 have been threes.
There's another good ball movement right there, but that high pass goes through Mooring's hands. I don't know if the bounce pass was open right there, so it might have just been a
the
catch
Warriors
issue.
are doing a pretty good job of getting Cundy in that short corner and looking for that high-low. But if they're going to be successful with that, Cundy or whoever plays that short corner, they're going to have to look to take some shots and maybe be a little more aggressive going to the basket.
And this is, I think you ran this offense with Coach Brown. It had some slight variation with some X cuts and stuff like this, but we call it fist. I think he called it.
We called it Duke.
Yeah, Roden refuses to call it Duke. He's a North Carolina fan. But anyway, I'll finish my thought in a moment. Let's give some shout-outs to our sponsors.
Yeah, we couldn't be doing this without the sponsors that we have. And Southwest Skin and Cancer, our sponsor, Foot and Ankle Institute, Sports Clips, Haircuts, Boulevard Home Furnishing, Straight Stripe Painting, and Island Grinds, all sponsors for Snow Canyon Athletics and the girls basketball program here at Snow Canyon High School. So
finishing that thought, well, once again, thank you for those sponsors for bringing this to us, for allowing us to bring this to you. But yes, exactly what you were talking about. I know this. It was a drill that we worked on pretty much every day. Is reverse pivot, short corner jumpers. It's a good jab cut. Staley bit on the fake and ended up giving up a back cut. Now Dixie takes their turn in a half-court trap, and Snow Canyon's able to break it. Makari Wong checks into the game for Taylon Whitehead, moves the ball to Lealau. Another overhand pass right through hands. And the openings are there. The movement is right for the Warriors. It's the execution that needs to improve. And exactly what you just talked about right there, Tyler Mooring caught that ball in the short quarter and immediately looked to pass. If she didn't have a defender come out on her, so if she would have reverse pivoted, she had an open shot, which I'm sure Coach Roden's happy with if it's a little 10-foot jump shot.
When they catch that ball in the short corner, their first look has to be at the basket. Whether they shoot it or not doesn't matter.
And one of the reasons for that is because by looking at the basket, Lealau breaks the press, dribbles in, and gets her shot blocked. But just by looking at the basket will force the defense to commit, and then the pass that the Warriors are trying to make is now a wide open pass instead of a semi-contested pass. So we always just said, always be a threat. Be a threat to score all the time. Lealau for 3 on the wing. Comes up just a little bit short. And Dixie is into their offense on their half of the court right now. Staley defends. Now Natalie Olsen at the top. Dixie's running a little weave action, and Snow Canyon's just willing to go under. Lob, entry, pass, help side's late, and Dixie ties it up at 6 apiece.
It's a great entry pass on the post that's being fronted.
Mooring with a 3 in transition. She drills it. I've noticed a little bit in the half court. She's been much more vocal in the half court. There was a play a little bit ago. Staley ended up making the 3, but Mooring was also open, and she was screaming for that ball. Dixie ends up breaking the trap, but that's one of the things that coaches like about these half court sets is it kind of gets you playing at a faster pace. So even though Dixie broke it, they missed the layup, and Snow Canyon's back into their offense. Mooring penetrates to the free throw line, kicks to the opposite corner to Staley. Staley misses, but Lealau gets the rebound. She forces it up from under the basket. Looks like she may have been able to kick that out. I think she was trying to make something happen right there.
Yeah, that's a great effort to get that offensive rebound. Just got to take a little bit better shot than that when you get those second chances.
Another lob entry pass. We have no midline. Both of the defenders, I know Coach Roden's upset right now. I know for a fact that is something he stresses in practice is if you are the backside defender, you need to have your back to the baseline so that you can see both halves of the floor. Because if you look at your person, you don't see the ball, something like that happens. If you look at the ball, you don't see your person, and they back cut. So that's something that the Warriors will try to improve. And this is interesting. We now have Wong and Whitehead in the game at the same time, which typically is not something that happens. They usually are in and out for each other. And then Dunkley checks in. Great skip pass. Whitehead loses it, but Mooring recovers it and draws a foul.
Even though that's a tough shot for Tyler right there, I like the fact that she's being aggressive and trying to get something at the basket.
One thing I loved the skip pass from Ann Dunkley over to Taylin Whitehead, and I like that she attacked. But if we had replay right there, all of Dixie's defenders were in the middle of the lane. When Taylin caught that ball, there were two choices. Either shoot it right away. She had about a 12-foot jump shot available. Or if she attacks with her left hand, she's not bringing the ball back into the middle of the defense.
Right.
And she's just going one-on-one against a late closeout, which means she's probably ending up with a layup or a foul herself. Nevertheless, Mooring's able to get the rebound, and she goes 1 for 2 from the line. Snow Canyon still in this trap, trying to force Dixie to be flustered. The lobs over the top are killing Snow Canyon right now, so that's going to be an adjustment. Pass into just across half court into the corner to Dunkley leads to a turnover, and now Dixie pulls it out to run their half court set.
And just like we talked about in the beginning, this is a tale of two styles. Dixie, all their points have been in the paint, and other than free throws, all of the Warriors have been threes tonight.
And we talked about this at Desert Hills, and while it's good to be working the ball around and getting those open shots, it's probably not a sustainable model to rely on the three-point shot exclusively. So getting some hard attacks, or when Dixie's in that zone, making the right pass to the cutters so that we can get some shot attempts at the basket will be key. This is Coach Forsey. I had the opportunity to coach against him, and this was one of the most frustrating things, and I know you coached against Coach Cuff. They spread you out at the end of these quarters, especially if you're playing anything besides man-to-man, and he is going to milk clock. He's going to be happy with, right now, a tie game. He can do no worse than a tie if he holds the possession the entire time, and he can maybe score.
Yeah, it's super hard to defend that. Sometimes, and it depends on where they're doing it in the context of the game. Here, obviously, Coach Forsey is looking for the last shot of the quarter. Sometimes it's good to just cut the floor in half. Keep them on one side and not let them weave that thing up at the top.
It's the second time the Snow Canyon defender has been defeated by just a give-and-go back cut. Olsen's going to attack the ball, kicks it to Wong. Wong doesn't get a shot off.
That's just no recognition for how much time is left on the clock there.
That was one thing when I was coaching. It was interesting that sometimes players, they didn't want to be embarrassed by having their shot blocked at the end of the quarter, but it was like, well, you might get fouled, and if we don't shoot it, we're for sure not scoring. So it was sometimes it's interesting to try to kind of battle that mindset, because especially for younger players, they think turning the ball over or getting it blocked is a bad thing. But it's like at the end of the quarter, you can't really lose anything there. I think we got some more sponsors to give a shout out to.
Yeah, again, thanks to Boulevard Home Furnishing, Hammond's Dental, Brent's Interiors, Genesis Dental, LP Building Solutions, St. George Topper, Performance Chiropractic, and Staley and Jacobson Accounting. Might be a big one right there with tax season coming quickly upon us.
I just got my W-2 in the mail, getting ready to fill that stuff out. Takeaways, Kunde, from that first quarter.
Kind of what we thought. Dixie's going to go inside to the bigs. Warriors are going to try to shoot some threes. The team that can come out of that mindset and maybe mix in a little bit of a different strategy might be the one that ends up pulling away a little bit here in this game.
For me, the silver lining for Snow Canyon is it seems like a relatively easy adjustment defensively for this isn't the same as Desert Hills. When Bundy would get the ball under the paint, there wasn't a lot Snow Canyon could do about it. But right now, if our midline defenders, our help side, is just a little bit more aware, we can intercept those lob passes, and it's not take away what's been working for Dixie. And then it's the same thing on inbounds plays. Just being aware that people are always going to cut to the basket, so defend the basket first, and then defend it.
And the Warriors
outside.
have been really successful today when they've got out and put some pressure on the guards. Dixie is turning the ball over quite a bit. The press, a little pressure there in the front court. They need to continue to hound those guards.
Pretty solid ball movement from the Warriors. They get a jump shot from Natalie Olsen from the free throw line. It's just short. And Dixie comes away with the loose ball. Taylon Whitehead defending out on the perimeter right now. Getting a couple of deflections. That always makes me nervous when they start playing with their hands like that. Somehow Dixie's players, I think there was a miscommunication from the Warriors. She splits 2 defenders and then shoots over the top of the third.
Warriors do a really good job handling some pressure from Dixie right there.
Skip pass is wide open. There we go. Now another one. Look at Taylon. Here we go. Macari comes in. Whitehead back to Macari. One thing I would like to see from Macari, there we go. There's the pass. Yes. There's the play. Down to Cundy. Cundy hits Olsen. Olsen hits it. Macari is, every time she catches it on those reversals, she's dribbling back toward the wing. And it's just a little thing, and she's able to complete the pass every time, but she's also bringing the defenders with her. If she can if that ball can move, as soon as she catches it, she pivots and kicks it over. We'll have opportunities to attack or shoot. We got some spacing issues for the Warriors right now, and Staley moves over to the other side of the floor. Great entry to pass to the high post, back out to Whitehead. Whitehead hits a 3 and gives Snow Canyon the lead, so we've got a bit of a back and forth game going here with those opposing styles that we talked about. A little bit of a shift defensively for Coach Roden. He pulls off that 3/4 court trap. And they're now in the half court. Taylon doing a little bit of what you were talking about, denying that ball reversal, not letting it go. I think a lot of times players are right-hand dominant. They don't like to dribble to the left-hand side of the floor, and so it looks like the Warriors are trying to force that action right there.
Here we go.
5-second count.
Just put a little bit of pressure on them.
I almost wish that was like I wish sometimes basketball was like hockey where you could just play the advantage, because I don't know if you saw, but when they threw that pass, Natalie Olsen was stealing that ball and she was going to go down and make a layup. They called the 5-second violation right before we got the turnover. So now Snow Canyon's going to move into the half court, and Lealau check back in. Oh, opposite, look opposite. I'm cheering. Nice move. Mooring with an aggressive move. Did you see Lealau on the opposite side?
He was open for a skip pass, you know, but it really what it looks like you were saying against that zone of Dixie's. Coach Roden is really stressing that get it to the short and get a quick one into that high-low look.
I like that bounce pass though, and then Mooring dribbled in with some strength and put it in. I believe that's a second foul that's going to be called on Taylon Whitehead. I know she's frustrated with that, but that foul ended up happening because of I think there were multiple Snow Canyon players that didn't have a box out, and so then this is when everybody's jumping for the ball, it's pretty much a scrum under there, and there's going to be a foul.
The tallest, strongest girl is going to win. Taylon, little overmatched by number 4 right there.
And sometimes it's frustrating for the defender that you've just been playing defense. You forced a missed shot, and then the other team gets the rebound, so you immediately want to get it back. You try to block it. Ball's entered to the high post, skip back to Staley. Wong moves it over to Lealau. Lealau puts up a 3. Ball goes in and out, and the Warriors come down with it. Staley does.
Good rebound again for the Warriors. They just got to dribble that out reset and give themselves a chance to get that second opportunity.
Kind of got some tunnel vision trying to throw that ball into the post. Cundy gets knocked back, and Dixie now retakes the lead at 18-17. Snow Canyon moves the ball pretty well against this trap. Lealau attacks and draws a foul, which is going to be a pretty big deal because that is now 2 on Fa'amuina. I know I made you announce the Dixie starting lineup because I made you pronounce that name.
Yeah, I got used to doing some of those Polynesian names with football, and I had assistant principal Conley Golly come up and give me a lot of help with how to
there we
those.
Go. And I'm comfortable with Ebony, who's at the free throw line, hitting this one. Lealau, her older sister Jasmine, actually played for Snow Canyon.
Good volleyball player.
Yeah, and she played basketball for us the year after the state championship, and then she ended up hurting her knee, but I think she ended up playing at USU Eastern on the women's basketball team over there.
Lealau makes that free throw. Puts the Warriors up by 1 here with 4 minutes remaining in the half.
And Snow Canyon has shifted into a man-to-man. Oh, Staley almost went with that inside hand, recovered. Cundy with good defense on Fa'amuina. And Coach Forsey likes to keep her in the game. 3-point attempt for the Flyers. There's a collision under there. Once again, the the Warriors seem content to turn around and hope the ball comes to them. I think they need to be, it's counterintuitive, but when the shot goes towards the rim, the defensive players need to be moving away from the rim to box out. The ball's entered to Faumuina, and she's able to power through Livy Cundy's defense and draw a foul on Cundy.
Not that I'm biased on this or anything, but officials have a struggle calling the game in the post.
Yeah.
It looked to me like she had some pretty good guarding position right there, and the contact was forced or created by the offensive player to knock her off balance.
Hey, well, I'll go ahead and second that so that we can eliminate the bias. Cundy did foul her after she was moved out of the way, and so once Cundy was basically pushed off of her defensive position, her arm came down, almost like trying to gather herself, and she ended up fouling her. But at the same time, I'm going to give Faumuina credit for forcing that.
Absolutely.
It's like I think officials know too. She has 2 fouls. Not sure if they're going to give her her third on an offensive foul like that. So what might be in the Warriors' best interest is to deny that entry pass from the get-go. In the game action, we had a miss. It was a missed free throw. Warriors got the rebound. Dixie committed a foul. Snow Canyon goes on their offense and turns the ball over in the corner, and now Dixie bringing the ball back across half court. Staley is clearly trying to force to that left side. And I wonder, Faumuina with a good-looking shot. She turns into the lane, goes up and over with the right hand, and that was actually pretty solid defense by the Warriors. They forced the entry catch way high. The Warriors with another turnover on a pass to the wing.
Dixie's,
is that a timeout?
Yeah.
On
Dixie
a fast
took
break?
their first timeout right there. I think he kind of thought that maybe they weren't going to get it on that scramble there on the turnover. Okay. So he got a quick
Not
timeout.
to question the coaching decisions, but it seemed like Dixie was going to score on a fast break opportunity right there. So a fortuitous timeout for the Warriors. And, Talon is on the bench with 2 fouls right now. And since let's give a shout out to a couple more sponsors.
Yeah, you bet. We've got Levitt and Associates, True Noni, the Dog Haws, and Rio Stones, Belmont Gardening, Brian Hickman Team Real Estate, and St. George Kids Dental.
Once again, thank you to those sponsors for providing the opportunity to bring you the game tonight. Simple things. Sometimes, we watch sports and we remember like the great plays or whatever, but every great thing is really just made up of 1,000 little things. And right now, some of the little things like making an entry pass to the wing against a zone defense. We talked about it, if you dribble toward that wing, now you're closing the distance. One defender can guard 2 offensive players, and you have your spacing in the wrong direction right there. And I think on our last 3 possessions, Snow Canyon's come to the right side of the floor, much like they're trying to force Dixie to do. And they've gotten clustered, and it's created turnovers right here. So we'll see if they can remedy that after the timeout. Faumuina has the ball in the high post, almost turns it over, is able to recover it. And when the ball is kicked out to the corner,
Travel.
A travel violation
Katie
is called
Mills,
on Katie
yeah.
Mills.
And I don't know if the Warriors need to close those threes out quite so quick right now. I think Dixie's only taken 2 3-point shots, and they haven't really been close.
And they're not really looking for him either. There we go. Makari dribbles to the opposite side and then kicks it back and creates an open shot for Lealau. And Lealau, who's hit a 3 earlier in the game, her 11th on the season, had a good look right there, and it comes short. I still would like to see the Warriors get the ball to that 3rd or 4th side of the floor. There we go. It's one of those little things. Some pressure. Makari forces the Dixie player to pick up her dribble, and then Makari kind of jukes at her and then jumps back, and it causes the Dixie player to shuffle her feet. Dixie's back in the 2-3 zone. The Warriors looking at their zone offense, go to short corner. Mooring gets it, enters it to Olsen. Olsen with a little runner, comes up short. Mooring on the floor to get the loose ball. Gets it out. And a traveling violation is called. Is that traveling? She was on her knees and then she got up to her knees. Is it traveling because her arms count as, I don't know the rule.
That's a good question.
Right
I'm not sure on that. I know when we coach our boys, we always tell them just get to your back.
Yeah,
If you get to your back, you can't be called for a travel.
I know if you're on the ground, if you're laying down and then you get up, it's a travel. But right there, Tyler never. She was on her knees and then she just stayed on her knees. So I don't know. I don't understand that violation right there.
I'm not sure what that call would be.
But I like the hustle from her regardless.
Oh, nice pull.
That's a nice little hop step, and that's something we call those finishing moves in practice. And you rip the ball over the top of your head from right to left and then go back up. That was a nice finish for the Flyers. They've extended their lead to 5, and we're getting to the point where we're starting to force the action a little bit. The Warriors are. And one thing, and I know Coach Roden, Coach Coolum, and Coach Bowis will be on top of this, but seeing little hints of some negative body language after some of these turnovers, and I know that that's something that becomes kind of infectious on a team. So you definitely don't want that to start happening. There's the offensive foul. They heard our broadcast, and they paid it back. That is the 3rd foul now on Famuina.
That could be a big one.
Famuina. That could be, and especially because, there's a minute 16 left. It's typically uncomfortable to get a 3rd foul in the first half. And so we'll see how that plays out in the second half. Whitehead back in the game. Speaking of, she has 2. Swings it back over to Mooring. Mooring on the wing puts up a 3. It goes long. Dunkley with the rebound. Dribbles it out to safety. Gets it over to Whitehead. Whitehead back to Dunkley. Dunkley shuffles her feet. And a traveling violation is called.
A lot of those turnovers can be prevented if the kids will just slow down in a hurry to try and do something. And I get that most coaches are telling you that ball's got to move quick against the zone. But moving quick and being quick.
We would always say we want to play fast but not rushed.
Right.
So, it's little things again. If you just get in the habit of doing things like every time you catch the ball, if you go to triple threat, if you chin it, I think Coach Meacham talks about 3 points of contact, shoulder, hip, somewhere like that. Right there, ball goes to the wing. Our player puts it up above her head. So the defense now knows that she's not going to shoot and that she's looking to pass. And so instead of closing out on her, they cut off her passing lanes, which is what caused Ann Dunkley to travel. A foul is called on Mooring, her first, and Dixie will inbound it from underneath their own basket. Almost deflected away by Taylon Whitehead. Shots up and off. Rebound to the Flyers, and it's going to be a tie-up. And the jump ball will go to the Warriors. There are 17 seconds left in the half. The Warriors trail by 5.
Yeah, here's a chance for Coach Roden to run up a nice little set play, see if they can get the last shot and narrow this lead just a little bit before the half.
Ball goes over to Mooring. Mooring back up to Whitehead. Whitehead swings over to Dunkley. Dunkley looking, throws a skip that is picked off, and Dixie's coming down. Whitehead does not want to get her 3rd foul, and Dixie doesn't get the shot off.
That was good for Taylor not to make that foul.
Yeah. That was just to make her slow down a little bit, was a good call. A little lack of awareness on the Dixie side right there for that end of quarter. If they just go up with it, they may force a foul call or shot might go in. But at the end of 1, Snow Canyon trails the Flyers 24-19, relatively back and forth game, and we will come back to you with about 2 minutes to go before the 3rd quarter. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ryan Rarick here with Kenny Cundy, and we are about a minute and a half away from the second half of the Snow Canyon Warriors against Dixie Flyers girls basketball game. First half ended on a little bit of a run for the Flyers. I believe at one point Snow Canyon had a lead at 19-18. I don't think Snow Canyon ever had a lead bigger than one, but the lead extended, or basically the quarter ended, on a 6-0 run for the Flyers, so they lead 24-19. Coach Cundy, what are we looking for in the second half?
I like the pressure that the Warriors were able to get on the Flyer guards. I think if they can get maybe in and out of that press, mix it up, keep some pressure on the front line, that they can force a few more turnovers like they did that first half. Need to capitalize on some of those open shots. Our shooting percentage isn't great. 12 of our 19 points right now come from three-point balls, 4 of them, 4 different players. And like we talked about earlier, it's Schaefer and Fa'umuina with 18 of the Flyer 24 points.
Something to pay attention to is Fa'umuina has picked up her third foul late in the second quarter, and if we'll see if something that I would like to see, which you alluded to, is if the Warriors can start attacking the basket a little bit more. It's easy to say things, harder to do them, though. And, one of my favorite quotes is, it's all about the man, or in this case, the person in the arena. It's a lot easier to be the critic on the outside than standing in. However, from our bird's eye perspective, Snow Canyon has all of the tools to execute what they need to do. It's just the decision-making in the moment that needs to improve a little bit, and a lot of it has to do with what we talked about, and this is what I'm going to look for, is those short corner people catching the ball, reverse pivoting, looking at the basket every time, at least taking a couple of those, that it opens up the floor. Dixie quickly enters the ball into Fa'umuina, and she puts a shot in to now extend the lead to 7 for the Flyers as Snow Canyon comes down. Anyway, looking to shoot, as Cundy skips it over to Mooring, but then also attacking and forcing Fa'umuina to defend under the basket. Shooting three-pointers pretty much plays into Dixie's game plan, because then Fa'umuina doesn't have to worry about committing any fouls.
Even though that basket didn't go in, I like that look by Tyler, a little one dribble, pull up 10, 12-footer. I like those shots from her.
You can take that shot. If you run an offense and you get an open 12-foot jump shot, every coach would take that every single play. Especially in the half court. Obviously, in transition, you want layups and stuff like that, but in the half court, you usually don't get wide open layups, so an open 10 to 12-footer is solid. Snow Canyon is back into a man-to-man defense, and they are hard hedging these ball screens and then recovering. Lob pass misconstrued.
Fa'umuina was thinking that was a shot.
Mills,
she had turned around to get rebounding position, and the ball just carried right over the top, out of bounds.
Mills had a wide open look from 3, and that was one of those times as a coach that you're like, I appreciate the unselfish play, but please be a little bit more selfish that time. Whitehead attacks the elbow, kicks out to Mooring. Mooring skips it over to Staley. Staley to Whitehead. Whitehead attacks the elbow, pulls up, misses the shot, but Mooring with the rebound, back out to Whitehead. Whitehead swings it over to Staley. Staley sets up for the 3. Shot's long, but Mooring's there again for the rebound. Shot is blocked, but we like the aggressive play that Mooring's having. She's coming out with a little bit more aggression in this third quarter.
Schaefer had some good position there to put the block on Tyler, but Tyler's doing a good job getting to the basket. I wish she'd maybe shoot some of those open threes instead of passing them up.
Snow Canyon gives up the offensive rebound. It's one of those things we just talked about again right there, and this is it's something I was never quite sure how to coach this. You're defending a post who's bigger and stronger than you are. Mooring has established position. Fa'umuina turns and drives right into Mooring. Mooring has to make a decision right there. If she wants to go down to draw a charge, that's a gamble, because if the foul's not called, you're now laying on the ground and you're surrendering an open layup. So I never really coach my girls to fall.
In this context right here, I would fall every time.
Yeah.
She has 3 fouls. If she wants to stay that aggressive, force the rest to get a 4th on her, because if we can get her out of the paint, that takes away their leading scorer right now and could put a little pressure on their offense.
That's 15 on the night for Fa'umuina. Mooring with another offensive rebound. She's working on almost a double-digit rebounding performance only on the offensive end. We have some spacing issues for the Warriors right there. We finally get it cleared up. Ball goes out to Mooring, and she hits a three.
And that right there is the shot that I'm talking about. She's had that open three-point look 2 or 3 other times this half already. Finally decides to take it. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
That's 9 points for her on the night. She's the leading scorer for the Warriors. Shout out to some sponsors again.
Yeah, you bet. We've got Dixie St. George Motors, Holbrook Asphalt Company, and Nets on Fire.
Coach Roden took a quick timeout after that three. I'm positive to make a defensive adjustment. I noticed this on the last time down when we were talking about maybe trying to draw that foul. He'd switched the defenders. He moved Cundy onto the other post and Mooring onto Famoina. And now both of them have 2 fouls, which 2 fouls in the third quarter is not that big of a deal. 3 becomes a mild concern.
And I think it's 6s with either one of those two, Cundy or Mooring. I had an opportunity to coach both of them in soccer. They're both defensive players, good footwork, understand how to defend. They both have 2 fouls right here. I like the switch, putting Cundy on her. Looks like they might actually be in a little bit of a zone look here.
They're running a little 2-1-2 zone, and they're just leaving Natalie Olsen in the middle. I think they're just going to double team Famoina on every catch she gets.
Good
Great.
deflection.
Oh, look up the floor. Sometimes my coaching comes out. Staley, Whitehead with the deflection, Staley with the steal. Whitehead leaked out and had a layup, but anyway, Staley takes care of it. Ball's entered to Olsen. She's somebody else that we would love to see going. Her second basket of the night. She's got 4 points.
And I like that look against the zone right there. Instead of going short corner to high post, they went high post first that time, and then were able to either look short corner or get that drive.
Got a 3-point attempt from the Flyers, and the ball is off, and the Warriors are going to this is an effort thing. We talk about when you're coaching, you can't always control your skill level. You can't always control if the ball goes in. But there's a couple of things that you can always control. It's your energy or your effort, and it's boxing out and rebounding. And right there, just on quite a few of Dixie's shots, Famoina is just having her way, getting under the basket, and then getting those rebounds. So Snow Canyon's going to have to make it a priority to, when the shot goes up, find her and initiate contact. Dixie breaks the Snow Canyon zone and gets a layup. Whitehead attacks to the wing.
Yeah, it looked like the Warriors kind of lost sight of the girls that were down below the block, kind of hiding out in that low post position.
Ball moves over to Lealau. Lealau takes a 3 and hits it. And Snow Canyon's making a little bit of a run on their own, cutting the lead to 2.
That's Lealau's second three-pointer of the game.
I'm not sure. Okay, so here Lealau just subbed into the game, and she is. This seems like this may be an adjustment that Coach Roden put in, not necessarily a defense that Snow Canyon has practiced before. I can kind of tell in from the body language. Taylin Whitehead with a great attack. She made up her mind and just went. That was a great change of pace. She moved at one speed. She got to a spot on the floor. She realized they were not stepping in front of her, explodes to the basket and puts it in. What a great shot from Taylin Whitehead.
She's an athletic girl, and that's the control you were talking about early in the game. She can learn to control that pace, and just right there, that's a 4th foul on Faumuina right there, and that's going to put a little bit of a hurt on Dixie's offense.
That is, and that was especially happening as Snow Canyon was making a run. We've got Cindy Mata entering the game. Cindy's seen a little bit of sporadic playing time, but every time she's been in, she's made things happen. So we're going to see if that continues. Coach Forsey calls a timeout for the Flyers, and before that foul on Faumuina, Dixie did what we've been waiting for Snow Canyon to do. Every defense has a weakness, right? Every zone has a weakness that you understand. Even the defense understands, like, okay, these are the areas that are harder for us to guard. And against this it looked like a 2-on-2. It's now morphing almost into a 1-3-1, where the wing defenders, when the ball is opposite them, are just covering the post, and then they're extending out to the wing on ball reversals. And that, for a split second, is leaving that short corner wide open. Dixie moves the ball there. That short corner girl immediately reverse pivots, faces the basket, puts the shot up, and I think the reason that Faumuina committed the foul is the ball went halfway down and then popped out, and so she had kind of released her rebounding position and then jumped back in for it. And And Mooring, I think, was the one that was in position to grab that ball.
Yeah, and I think Coach Roden did a good job adjusting to a zone. The Flyers have taken 4 or 5 threes, haven't hit one yet, so packing in that middle, making them make something from the outside, getting a rebound, I think could pay off for them defensively. While on the other side, the Warriors, they've made 6 threes tonight, keeping
Dixie
them in the game.
Comes out into a 2-2-1 full court press. Little token pressure. Snow Canyon moves the ball well. Gets a decent-looking shot from Natalie
Maybe a little
Olsen.
quick from that high post, but they are doing a great job tonight handling the press and not turning the ball over.
Right there, that was, we talked about playing fast but not playing rushed. It was a quick shot. It was a good look. If Natalie reverse pivots right there, she can face the hoop and then force that defender to commit. If that defender comes at me, I'm dribbling by her and I'm getting to the rim. If that defender stays, I'm shooting this shot right now. And I think sometimes the players think they have to make that move because the defense is coming after them. So I got to get this shot off before. But you know, you've got a half a second before you have to make that decision.
Yeah, Natalie does a really good job from that high post position when she does face up and do that reverse pivot like you're talking about of getting to the hole.
Dixie with another three-point attempt. And once again, Dixie with the offensive rebound. Attack to the elbow.
Good
Great box out by Tyler Mooring. She is fouled, as that's one of those things you teach, especially post players. And Tyler had to dribble to gain control of it, so she picked it up, has 2 people on her. But if you chin that ball and just don't stop pivoting until you get some space to make a pass, they're going to foul you or they're going to feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whitehead brings the ball across half court, moves it over to Lealau. Dixie's still sitting in their zone. Ball's entered to the high post. Natalie kicks it out to Lealau. Lealau puts up a 3 and drills it. That's her 3rd 3 of the game.
And those are the kind of threes that the Warriors need to take. The ball goes inside. Natalie faces up, looks to attack the basket, sucks the defense in, kicks it out to a wide open shooter who's ready to go.
That's a key, and Dixie's called for a travel. The Snow Canyon will get the ball back. Makari Wong in for Taylin Whitehead and Staley in for Cindy Mata. That shot was huge for the fact that of what we talked about earlier. Coach Forsey, when the game's tied or with a lead late in quarters, loves to spread it out and kill clock. But when he is behind, he can't do that unless he's just willing to accept the loss or the loss of the quarter. Miscommunication right there. Was that who threw the pass? Was that Makari?
It was. It got tipped by a defensive player, and then Kenna Staley went to grab it, and it went off her
and
fingers
it looked
out
like
of bounds.
Kenna was actually trying to back cut because the defender had extended. Because Makari did the thing we talked about earlier. She dribbled over towards McKenna, and McKenna read the defender coming in, goes to back cut, and the ball ends up getting deflected off of her. Good attack from the Flyers. It's hard to fault a missed rebound on an air ball, so Flyers get their offensive rebound. Turnover, and Mooring's there for the steal again. She's going to bring the ball across half court. She advances it up to Lealau. Lealau looks to attack off the dribble, forces the action against a double team, and turns it over.
Yeah, we've got a lead right now. Very few seconds, under a minute left here in the 3rd quarter. We've got to do a better job of recognizing time and score right there, and maybe pull that out and get a last shot, or at least a good shot.
And it's one of those things. It's understanding the game, the context, and things like that. But one thing I love about Lealau is we talked about this with some of the other players. Like, everybody's got to look at the basket and be a threat to score. She is 100% looking at the basket every time she catches it. And I say, it's the famous quote, she's a hammer, and when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? You're just going to hit everything. Dixie puts up a long shot, offensive rebound again, fouled on the putback attempt. And I would say that's almost all of Dixie's free throw attempts have been off of offensive rebound, putback attempts, where the Warriors try to block the shot, and it's really hard to train that out of a player. But first we talked about box out first, but if you don't box out and they get the rebound, instead of jumping to block the shot, just contest and box out again.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at what's gone on in this quarter right here, and up until that free throw that Schaefer just made right there, the Flyers only had 5 points in this quarter. The Warriors have done a good job packing the paint in with their zone, forcing the Flyers to take outside shots. And the Flyers just right now, they're not hitting any outside shots.
Mooring gets the ball, 4 seconds left, gets it over to Makari. Makari Wong puts up a 3 at the buzzer. she got the shot off. So we just dealt with the first 2 quarters where each team kind of had a lapse where they didn't get a shot at the end of the quarter. Snow Canyon gets one. They end with a 2-point lead. So coming into the quarter with a 5-point deficit and basically a scoring explosion right here for both teams. 19 to 24, or not for both teams, for Snow Canyon.
Yes.
Yeah. But I just meant it was 19 points for Snow Canyon at halftime, 32 at the end of the third quarter. Scored 13 in the quarter.
Yeah, that's a great quarter for the Warriors. And like I said, they were able to keep the Flyers to only 6 points in a quarter. I think I mentioned this earlier in the
Anti-scoring
game.
explosion.
If we can keep Dixie to 40, we're going to have a chance to win this game. So, to me, the interesting thing here is going to be how long can Coach Forsey leave his star player, Fa'umoina, on the bench with 4 fouls? How long until she gets back in?
And then we talk about basketball IQ, knowing the game, knowing the situation, knowing the context of the events. When she re-enters, will the Warriors players recognize that and force the action a little bit into the paint, or defensively just make sure that they get in and box her out and force one of those foul calls again?
Yeah, the coaches on the bench, especially those assistants for Coach Roden, they're going to have to make sure when she comes in that the kids know exactly what the situation is with her and the 4 fouls.
Looks like Snow Canyon's back in their 1-2-2. This is called Monster. I would be fascinated to see if Coach Roden comes out of this without Fa'umoina in the game. It might be a good change of pace to switch to a man-to-man.
I might think so too, especially with the pressure we were putting on in the first half, causing some turnovers.
And also, even if the defense is and not to question his decisions, he knows his players and knows what they're comfortable with. But the longer and this is something in every game, the longer you run your defense, the more opportunities you give the offense to solve it. And once they solve it, then you have to make the change at that point. So it's like it's almost like, do you want to save that and make them try to solve it again later in the game? Ball's entered to Mooring. Mooring back out to Whitehead. Whitehead kicks back to Mooring. Mooring over to Staley. Staley to Whitehead in the corner. Catch that ball with 2 hands, Kenna. Kenna moves that ball over to Whitehead. Whitehead puts up a 3. It looks like it was partially deflected.
See, and that shot right there, to me, a little bit forced. It's not an inside-outside pass. It's just coming straight down the wing. She's trying to dribble into a 3. A little rushed.
We had good movement, and then it was like sometimes the players think, well, we did all this movement, we have to get something out of it. It's like, oh, we didn't get anything. Make the defense play defense some more. Reset it. Go through your motions again. You'll eventually find the opening. It's going to be a foul called on Staley. Relatively few fouls called in the second half. There was only 4 called in the third quarter.
Yeah, and neither team got into the bonus in the first half, so it's been a relatively clean game played right now. And you can tell what Dixie's trying to do with their big scorer, Fa'umoina, on the bench. They're going to Schaefer, who's their leading scorer this season with almost 12 points a game. Got her just hanging out at the high post, trying to move that ball around and get her the ball.
Yeah, Staley's just trying to front her the whole time.
Yeah,
now she's.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to go play-by-play. So what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, if that's what they're going to do, the Warriors ought to move into a little man-to-man right here. See if they can mix something up.
Another offensive rebound for the Flyers. Another foul on the putback attempt for the Warriors.
Yeah, offensive rebounding has been a problem for the Warriors tonight, that's for sure.
It's something that you talked about right there. That was good ball movement for the Flyers. They moved the ball out to the opposite corner, got an open 3-point look. But as we talked about, there are going to be shots that you're never going to give somebody a wide open shot, but you recognize that if they exploit this, that's what we're going to let them exploit. And it was the 3-point from the corner, and our defender, we had 2 defenders run out to the corner to jump and contest a long 3-point attempt. That left us with very few rebounders. Mata puts up a 3 from the wing. Another quick possession for the Warriors. They're now down 2, and Lealau and Olsen check back into the game.
Yeah, good substitutions from Coach Roden right there. They come down and take another quick 3 or a quick shot. Roden might have to use a timeout and get his kids to settle down.
As predicted, with the lead now, Coach Forsey's going to move out into the 4 corners, and he's going to try to drag Snow Canyon out of the zone.
Yeah, and the strategy is great because we don't have a shot clock. But for me, this is exactly why Utah needs to move into the shot clock era. so that stuff like this doesn't happen.
Well, and you want to reward defense, right? If a team can play solid defense for 35, 40 seconds, that should be rewarded. That's a really hard thing to do, and this style makes it so that you can play defense for minutes, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, Coach Forsey's got a boy that plays for Dixie, and this is who the boys play tomorrow is Dixie, and exactly something that their boys team does as well. They get a lead, and
Lealau with the deflection forces the turnover, and now Snow Canyon with the opportunity to tie or take the lead on this possession. Ball's moved over to Lealau. Lealau back to Whitehead. Whitehead, one dribble pickup, skips down to Mooring. Mooring into the paint, kicks it up to Olsen. Olsen with the shot and the miss. Great offensive rebound by Mooring, who finds Staley on the opposite wing. The good three. Mooring with another offensive rebound. And loses the ball out of bounds.
That one looked to me like it got knocked out of her hands out of bounds, so but maybe hit her. We're at a little bit of a disadvantage on this side of the floor there. Nonetheless, that's great effort from Tyler. 2 rebounds in a row on the offensive end.
She found 2 open teammates. And Dixie's back into the 4 corner of the spread. They're trying to isolate Lealau on the block. This is a game situation here. Snow Canyon has to realize that they can't sag off on every time that Natalie gives that ball handler space. A new 5 count comes in, and basically Dixie could just do that forever unless Snow Canyon forces the action. Another turnover, and we've got a fast break opportunity. Tough pass. Lealau saw her a little bit late. Instead of leading her, she threw it behind her.
That's a good leak out and good run by Natalie Olsen right there, but she ran a little narrow. 2-on-1, she's got to get just a little bit wider to create a better angle there for Lealau to get her the ball.
And also just recognizing where she was at on the floor. By the time she got to the volleyball line, if she hadn't got the ball, stopping and coming back, even if you never get the pass, it pulls the defender back and then Lealau can go. But stopping and coming back would have opened up the opportunity for her to catch that and get a rebound or get a layup. Famuina back into the game, and just like that, the ball is entered to her in the post, and she draws a foul on Whitehead, Taylon's 3rd. Dixie ahead by 2. Famuina at the line. First free throw's up and in.
Yeah, that's her 16th point of the night. Shooting her 2nd free throw here. Give her 17 on the evening.
And Snow Canyon finds themselves down by 4 with just under 4 to go. Somehow, ball's entered to Natalie Olsen. Natalie attacks. Shot is off, and Dixie with the rebound, and they are coming across. That is, Natalie's an aggressive player, and she's a relatively young player, and that's something that, as a coach, you're trying to explain to your team. Hey, what they want us to do is come down and take really quick shots so that then they can play offense for a really long time. And they're probably the last 3 possessions, Dixie's only had to play defense for, a combined total of about 10 seconds. Yet they were able to extend their lead through these long offensive possessions.
Another offensive rebound for the Flyers extends their lead to 4.
And now Snow Canyon
8-6.
Snow Canyon's back here, moving the ball over to Staley. Staley throws a skip pass, and it was a 50-50 ball. Tyler appeared to have gained position and then was hit by Dixie's
number 1, Katie
Mills. Cundy checks into the game for Natalie Olsen. Whitehead to inbound the ball for underneath their basket. Lealau forces up the shot, and Cundy's the only one to rebound under there and loses it to the Flyers.
Again, that's just a super quick shot.
And it was contested, too. Taylon had stepped back into the corner. I would have liked to have seen that kick out, and then Leilau's basically serving as a screen on the kick out right there for Taylon. Dixie's, they're going to run as much clock as they can, and then, when Snow Canyon overcommits, they're going to attack and score, or hope to score. Tyler defends with her feet right there, so kick save, former goalkeeper.
With a 6-point lead, Warriors are going to have to do something a little bit more aggressively defensively to try to get back into this. I think they might have to try and trap some of that spread that Dixie's running on them right now.
They're going to have to, they're going to have to trap. They're going to have to hard hedge those. Shot goes up for Dixie. That was an uncharacteristically quick shot in the offensive possession. Whitehead speeds down the floor, kicks back to Mooring. Mooring from the top of the key. Short, but it goes right to Staley. Staley kicks it to Whitehead. Whitehead attacks over to Mooring on the elbow. Shot goes up, hits every part of the rim and doesn't fall. Two good looks from Tyler Mooring right there that don't fall. Yeah, Under 2 now, 6-point game.
Yeah, I like those shots from Tyler. Yeah, Warriors are going to need to get a little bit more aggressive here defensively.
Good back cut by the Flyers. And they extend their lead to 8 with a minute and a half to go. So we're now looking at least 3 possessions with a minute and a half to go. Cundy, if you are Coach Roden right now, what are you telling your team?
Man, I mean, I know there's just a little bit of time left right now, but we just have to be a little bit better with the shot selection that we're taking offensively. We are going to have to maybe play a little bit quicker right here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Roden come out in a full court pressure, try and force some turnovers and creep back into this with, only a couple minutes left in the game.
This is now where, the players might get a little bit confused because if you're the whole game preaching patience offensively, Dixie wants us to come down and take fast shots. But because we had taken fast shots earlier in the quarter, we now find ourselves in an 8-point deficit with only a minute and a half to go. We now no longer have the luxury of running a long offensive set. We do have to take the first available shot that's open. And something to consider is Snow Canyon's still going to have to commit 2 fouls before they're in the bonus. So you don't want to wait until there's 30 seconds left and then you have to foul 2 times. So I would also expect to see pressure and maybe even fouls right away if you don't get a steal on the inbound trying to commit a foul early. Snow Canyon into their half court. Dixie sits in their zone. Ball moves over to Talon. Talon attacks the elbow, kicks it out to Olsen. Olsen puts up a 3. Shots off. Mooring fighting for the rebound is unable to get it. And Dixie with the rebound, and they will advance it across half court. Olsen deflects it, but Dixie's able to gain it, regain control. Famuina puts up the shot.
Great rebound from Staley.
Good rebound from Staley. Mooring with the ball. Just under a minute to go now. Snow Canyon in their offense. Over to Olsen. Olsen with the 3 again. That one rattles in.
I was going to say, I'm surprised Coach Roden's not using a timeout, and there it comes right there.
So now a 5-point game, 49 seconds to go. Coach Roden, I'm sure, is going to be setting up a defense for this inbounds pass underneath the basket. Yeah, there we go. Those are those quick shots, and that's something that's a coaching opportunity when you watch film later, or even if you just talk about it in practice, where it's like game scenarios. That's something we used to do at the end of practice a lot. We had like a bunch of playing cards with different game scenarios on the end of it, so the girls could understand that you have to play differently at different points in the game. And so, at one point in time, we were holding a 32-30 lead at the end of the quarter. So, those are the first 3 points.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we haven't hit a shot since that 3-point from Lealau late in the third quarter. That was the first basket of the quarter for us.
So we, some quick offensive possessions, and Dixie a little bit more methodical, and basically took advantage of, Snow Canyon gets frustrated. It's hard when you can't have your offense drive your defense, right? If you play defense based on how well you're scoring, when you run into these things, yeah, it's a cycle and it feeds itself. We got to look deep on this one. Ball's inbounded, and just like that, Snow Canyon commits a foul.
To me, that's a super quick call. Not a whole lot of contact right there. It's one hand, not 2.
I think they might have heard Coach Roden. Roden called hammer, and the players did it, and I think the refs knew that was happening.
Oh, it's a good play from Dixie.
They missed their layup, though, but don't get...
Give up another offensive rebound and commit a foul.
So Talon got beat on the well, it was an inbound, and then she got screened, and then she sprinted down to go contest the layup, and none of her teammates ran down the floor. They were just assuming that the Dixie player would make the wide open layup, and that's one thing that those are the difference between winning and losing plays right there, right? Yes. The first free throw, the 1-and-1 goes in. I was in when we were coaching. I'm bringing up that 2016 state championship again. Tie game, and a player on Cedar steals the ball and has a leak out by herself and goes up and misses the open layup. And because Shaylee Reed sprinted down the floor, she got the rebound, and it was as if that turnover hadn't happened. Yeah. Lead goes back up to 7. The Flyers do make both of their free throws.
Yep, and you look at those two girls for Dixie we talked about, Schaefer and Fa'amuina, 34 of the 42 points from those two girls right there. So if the game plan was to slow those two down, we didn't do a very good job of that tonight.
And it's a lot of it, like we mentioned, has been on offensive rebound putbacks. And that's one thing that if you're undersized, the boxing out becomes even more crucial. I had the luxury when I was the head coach. We had at one year we had Katie Langford, who's now a Division I volleyball player at Utah State. We had Treya Andrews, who elected not to play, and we had Sophie Robinson and Sammy Johnston. I basically had like 5 girls on the team that were around 6 feet tall. Leia Lau puts up a 3. It's long. Dixie with the rebound. And a jump ball is going to be called. So Snow Canyon's going to get that ball back.
Possession, yeah. 28 seconds.
Anyway, when you're 6 feet tall in girls basketball and you can jump like Katie could or like Sammy could, maybe boxing out you could get away with not boxing out a few times. So you just jump higher than everybody and go grab the ball. But when you don't have that height advantage, it's hard. Olsen drains another 3, and Roden's going to call another timeout. He has 1 left after this. It's now a 4-point game with 21 seconds to go, 21.9 to go.
Yeah, I'm Coach Roden right here. I deny Schaefer the basketball, make one of these other guards that maybe hasn't shot a lot tonight, have to make something at the free throw line.
What do you think about, this is one thing earlier when you were talking about maybe it was a quick call. There's, I know I said something earlier where I was like, oh, you got to foul early because you got to get into the bonus. But at the same time, when there was around a minute left and you were trapping in the backcourt, I maybe don't foul until they get it across half court, right, because they might be a 10-second violation right there. And at that point, I can sacrifice 10 seconds to get another possession if I can get a score.
Yeah, even a panic pass turnover.
Yeah. Trying to throw it away to avoid the 10-second violation, which, on the other hand, if I'm Coach Forsey, I'm telling my girls, take the 10-second violation. Right. Don't turn it over. We'll burn 10 seconds, even if we don't get it across half court, and they might foul us. So I'm telling them not to. And
with 20 seconds left, Dixie's only got 3 team fouls. So they've got to commit 4 personal fouls before the Warriors even get free throw shooting. If I was Coach Forsey, I would be up the floor, and I would be burning 4 or 5 seconds, taking a foul. Another 4 or 5, taking a foul, and just foul your way into a win right here. Good
pass goes circle. Deep. Olsen does a good job of recovering. They're going to. No foul has happened from the Warriors yet.
That's a good foul right there.
Unfortunately, it burned 9 seconds off the clock. I think the Warriors. Who's number 4? The other leading scorer, Schaefer. She. I'm pretty sure the Warriors defenders thought that when she sprinted down the floor that she was going to put up the shot, so they didn't foul her. And she smartly, it's like a fantasy football player who runs out of bounds at the 1-yard line or kneels it at the 1-yard line to run the clock out. But she was like, the time is worth more than the points right now. Good news is for the Warriors, it's still going to be a 2-possession game no matter what. So the second free throw's a miss. Natalie Olsen gets the rebound. And
again, that foul right there does not hurt the Flyers. It actually stops the Warriors from transition. They still could give 2 fouls right here.
Makari Wong into the game. Did Talon foul out on that last one? She must have. Okay. Staley puts up a 3 and it's in. 4 seconds to go, and the Warriors have now cut this to a 2-point game. Explain sports to me, Kundi. We had like 15 minutes where we couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and now we're just like throwing up shots with hands in our face and just draining them. And look at that. If we would have held them to 40, there we go.
That was the magic number I thought coming into tonight. So.
Well, hey, turnover or quick foul right here. Unfortunately, Coach Roden does not have any more timeouts left. So if we have to resort to fouling,
it's got to be quick right here.
Yeah, Dixie can miss their free throw basically, and Snow Canyon's going to have to advance the ball in 4 seconds and get a shot up and in, which will be very tough to do. And that's actually now we're going back to something that we mentioned kind of in passing, but now it's an important issue. At the end of the first quarter and the end of the second quarter, both teams just ended up dribbling out the clock because they were unaware of how much time was left. And in the third quarter, Snow Canyon was able to get a shot off. We're now in a moment where it has to happen, even if it's not the shot you want. We got to get something in the air.
Right.
Hope it goes in.
Right. I think you keep the ball in front of you right here. Don't let them get in behind, and you got to foul the first person that catches it right there. Right. Even though that's Schaefer, their best shooter right now, have to take that foul.
Well, now there's 2.7, so it's a little bit more difficult now for the Warriors.
And if I was the Flyers on this, make or miss this free throw, I'm going with everything I got for an offensive rebound, because even if you foul, the Warriors aren't shooting, and no way they're getting that thing down in second and a half.
Yeah, and maybe Coach Forsey has one timeout left. Maybe he fouls on purpose. Free throws up and in. That's a 3-point game. If she makes this, it seals the game. If she misses, Snow Canyon's going to have to get a half-court heave to try to tie. Shots in, and Coach Forsey calls a timeout. Kind of, all right.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the game right there. So we'll see. I think maybe it's a teaching moment, and he's telling them they literally can just go stand in the corner right now because Snow Canyon can't stop the clock no matter what. This actually, a couple years ago, this happened. We were playing Pineview, and we were ahead by 3, and Pineview was inbounding it underneath their own basket, and that they had no timeouts left. And during the timeout before the inbounds, we told our girls to defend the inbound play on the perimeter. Just guard the three-point line, let them catch under the basket. And Pineview, they see us out there, and so a girl runs to the basket. They inbound it. She makes the layup, cuts the lead to 1, but we don't even go inbound the ball. And in high school rules, the clock runs after a made basket. If she would have made it, nope. So Snow Canyon falls to the Flyers 45-41 in what appeared to be 2 evenly matched teams. And it was the 2 primary contributors for the Flyers who carried them to victory. What are your final thoughts here, Kundi?
I thought the Warriors played well today. Their turnover percentage was much lower. They handled the pressure that Dixie put on them very well tonight. To me, this was just a game where the youth of the Warriors came out in the second half. They took some very quick shots, didn't play through the offense to get the good shots they were getting in the first half, and that cost them in the fourth quarter.
Well, and it was like it was feast or famine, right, for the Warriors. And that third quarter was about as good of a quarter as I've seen them play this year. They turned it around from down 5 to up 2, so they outscored the Flyers by 7. And then I think sometimes that's the way it goes. Like when things are going your way, you're maybe less detail-oriented because you're like, oh, I'm playing well, things are going well. And we saw that kind of, Dixie responded. They held us to few points, and Snow Canyon ends up falling short.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Be back with us tomorrow as the